This is a mustard R30, size 10. What I'd like to do here is show you a new CdC hackling technique I've been working on for some time. This is for a CdC parachute hackle. So I'm just going to tie a basic mayfly dun pattern to show you the technique. Okay, we need some coque de lion for the tail. So what I do with this is I separate just a little bit like that, and I level all the tips up and take hold of, oops, sorry, there we go, take hold of all the tips like that and then just pull. We'll measure these and tie these in on top of the hook shank. Now once you've put one turn in to tack it in, just make sure the tail's the right length, and then each turn lift up the tail so you get it on the top of the hook shank. There we go, there's one that's too long there, I'll sort that out. Okay, and we go back up and remove that. Get rid of that one fibre because I don't like that being there. Put that on. There we are. That'll do us. Now what we want is some polypropylene yarn. This is the Barry Ord stuff. I found this to be the best for what we're going to use it for. So we take a loop and we make a loop about 10 centimeters long with the polypropylene yarn. So we put this in, we tie it in where you would tie in just about a regular parachute post. So tack this in a little back over first. This is just to get the right body shape, and then lifting what's left behind, cut it at an angle so it tapers off. I should have left a little bit more out there so I could get hold of it easier, but that'll do. So we'll just go back with this now. So here we are, you see that the taper's coming. Just a couple more winds to build that taper up. And then I'll go forward for the next stage, which is just to get the poly yarn pointing upwards. Just go back to that, and then we'll pull that back and we'll make a few wraps just to support it. There we go. Now I've tried this singular without doubling it, and it doesn't really, it's much more difficult to do, but it doesn't matter, it's much easier when you've doubled it, to show you the technique. So I'll go backwards now to the tail base, stop about halfway, spin the thread. Now what I want is, I mean, you can use quill body, as I said, this isn't the technique I want to show you here, this is something completely different, but I'm using moose mane. So what I'm using here is 2 brown to white ones and 1 black one. Look for the ones that are well marked, and then we take them and we line the points up kind of, yeah, so they're about there. They don't have to be desperate because you're going to cut these off. We'll take the scissors and we'll just trim those down to the same size. So we put these on the hook shank like so against the body. We'll go forward towards the post, tie them in, and then back, give that a spin to flatten it out again. Back towards the tail base, keeping the 3 moose hairs tight into each other all the way. Flatten that thread out again. There we go. Right down to the tail base. There we go. That's good. Now what I want to do is go back up. Towards the post. That's where we're going to tie them off when I've wrapped the quill body. Although it is moose hair, it's still called a quill body. So here we go. And we'll stop just in front of the post like that. Now we take the 3 moose hairs and we've got to wrap these parallel all the way up the hook shank to form the segmented quill body. You'd be surprised how strong these hairs are, but if you wish to make them even stronger, you can give the underbody a coat with varnish first, or cement, head cement, and you can give them a coat with resin, UV resin or something afterwards. Now turn reverse into them. I just have to take a bit of that tying thread in on the bobbin and go over just to hold them in place like that, and then I'll tie them down. Okay, you can remove those now. Pull them off one at a time. They're difficult to remove if you're going to do it that way, pulling them all at once. There we go. So we'll go back into the post and on the back side of it, and then we need a little we need to make a dubbing loop about 10 centimeters long. So put that over, we go around because you've got to make this end tight into each other, and we tie that off like that. Then put a dubbing spinner on there. You can use the light type here, you don't need a heavy one, it's CdC we're spinning, and just move that out of the way. Now we need some dubbing for the thorax, so I'm just going to mix a little dubbing here, a black and a brown, super fine dry fly dubbing. We'll just put this on here. You only want to find thorax here. Okay, I think that'll do us actually. So the first is to unhook the loop, and we want to make a few turns on the back side of the loop for the thorax first. So you can go a little bit into the quill body there, and then there, sorry, there, and then forward. Let's give that another spin, tighten it up, and then forward. Move that out of the way now, like so. Excellent. Then we can make a whip finish here. Like so, and just leave the tying thread hanging. Now we go to our dubbing loop that we made. Get that untangled. There we go. And I've loaded a magic clip with Blue Done CdC, 2 hackles here, but you can use as many as you require. Just put that in, and then we need to spin that. Get that done. Spin it good. There we go. That's it. Excellent. Then what we have to do is we have to wrap this around the post, and then we go down into the thorax like that and make the last few turns of the hackle right tight into the thorax, and then when we get down to the front, take our tying thread. I'll just wind this up, and we tie that off at the front. That's the end of the dubbing loop, so we can remove that now. Like so. Take the whip finisher, and this is a great way when you want to show the thorax correctly. You're not going to get any CDs at all underneath the fly. You're just going to have a clean thorax. So we remove that. Now what we do, we hold the polypropylene yarn up, and then we take the magic stacking tool and we push all the CdC down onto the top of the thorax. Yeah, you can use your thumb and nail like that if you wish, but this works perfect for it. So wiggle it about and get everything pushed down, and then with your scissors you cut off. It's better if I do it that way probably. You pull all the hackle down like this, and then you cut off a little less than a centimetre. That'll do. Then you take a cauterizing tool and you melt the polypropylene yarn slowly and carefully all the way down till it gets to a little ball like that. Wet your finger. That's it. Then we just brush out the fibres, the CdC fibres, before we're going to trim them down like that. We pick all these up. Now, depending on how long you want your hackle, let me pull these together again. You just trim these off, all the same length. There you go. That's the CdC parachute hackle, and you can see underneath there's absolutely nothing on the thorax at all, and this is a CdC hackle that will keep your fly afloat all day long. So it's still something that's a work in progress for me, but I'm quite pleased with it so far, so give it a go.